All right. So hello and greetings, everyone. My name is Dorina Katrina from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm a certified SXA international coach and trainer at Self-X Analysis and Training Technology. To learn a little bit about myself, I'm an avid advocate for the truth. And through my work, I would like to leave a legacy for generations to come. I've spent my entire professional career in business, education, finance, and military. But finally, recently, I found my purpose, my path, and my passion, and I'm continuing to pursuing them through self-X analysis, which is actually a unique system of success developed over decades of research. And I will continue to pursue my purpose with passion as their mission is actually my mission. So that would be to help others empower themselves, become better versions of themselves. So to find their expressway to success and, with least efforts, high accuracy in the shortest period of time. So I cannot tell you how excited I am to be the host of this inaugural episode of this webinar, and big welcome everyone. I have with me some phenomenal experts in their respective fields, and I've been so fortunate to meet you all through LinkedIn. We've been in each other's posts, articles, commenting, and but never live. So this is our first time live. There's no time or distance that could keep us apart by the look of it. So thank God for technology, and you see, everything is possible. Now, the purpose of this webinar is to share with you our perspective with regards to pressing matters that we are dealing during those unprecedented times on the topic of how teams, how people actually are motivated by emotionally intelligent leaders. So without further ado, I'm inviting Eunice to start the discussions.
Thank you so much, Dorina. My name is Eunice Ifeanyichukwu. I'm from Nigeria, a CEO and a co-founder of a non-profit. I'm a curator and a multicultural team leader. I actually want to join you to welcome everyone. I really appreciate this outing. It's just amazing. And I hope we are going to realize something tangible in this particular meeting. As you just rightly said, that we're going to discuss about how emotionally intelligent, driven leaders motivate their employees and workers and those around us. Because these days now, you might not really say, okay, I'm going to work or something. Some people are in their houses and that's the place of their work. So it depends. So the discussion we're going to have today is something that's actually going to help us everywhere we are. It's not just about maybe in our working place or something. We all know that the COVID-19 is a worldwide phenomenon that has actually dealt with a lot of people. It has disrupted lives. It's inflicting pain on people on a daily basis. So this is a time that leaders ought to come together. To be a leader is not easy. So it's a time a kind of encouragement, to encourage one another, to learn from one another, because you don't know everything. So, and I'm glad I'm going to be speaking with leaders from different perspectives. That is amazing. And I'm glad about that. So the aim of this particular meeting actually is to create a condition in which people are willing, to work in their distance. Because so many people are downcast. So many people are some people are even depressed. Some people are suffering from anxiety. So there are a lot of things happening. So this is a time we can all come together, a kind of to encourage one another and all of that. So Cheryl, I want to hand over to Cheryl to introduce herself. Thank you.
First of all, I want to say thank you and welcome to everyone that's listening and those that are present on this call. It's such a privilege, as was mentioned earlier, to use technology for all of us to come together. And technology today is playing a very essential role in how we work and live. We're seeing things brought to our cell phones, our televisions firsthand. We're seeing the numbers that are increasing. We're seeing social unrest. We're seeing a lot. The challenge is, how do we balance that with everyday life? We are seeing record numbers of individuals that are having issues with depression, anxiety. We're seeing the numbers of social unrest. And as we continue to visualize all these things, they can become a distraction to us from our focus on our work, our family, and ourselves. Like the airlines say, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. During this time of social unrest, of healthcare issues that threaten our families and our friends, we need to be present as leaders, as individuals of a small corporation or a corporation of one. How do we stay present in the time when there's so many distractions? And my message is to be mindful of ourselves and to be mindful of our own needs. If we are tired, we should rest. If we can work, we should work. But try in this time, and it's so challenging, not to isolate yourself. Use technology as a means to stay connected to people, either through videos, text messaging, or even the old-fashioned way, which is called now a phone call. Myself, I'm a data person. I'm a data founder. I founded my own nonprofit organization that helps young people and seniors stay connected safely online. I've also spent time in a corporate life as well as an independent consultant, all data related. So I know that the numbers are not looking good right now. Unemployment is at an all-time high. People who thought they would always have a job are now out of work. So my message to everyone, if you're a leader or a part of a team, is to try your best to be present, to be in the moment, and try not to worry about these other things. And I know that that is not an easy task, but staying mindful and being present will help you to focus on your goals. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So let's go over to Evans. Ivan, can you introduce yourself?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Evans, and I'm speaking from Nigeria. I'm an occupational safety specialist. I'm very happy to be here today with all of you. Just like Chitra rightly said, technology has made it possible for all of us to come together, and it's really a wonderful experience. I'm really very thankful that you chose me as your guest, Eunice, and I couldn't be more appreciative of it. Thank you so much. I believe we're here to talk about how emotionally intelligent leaders can motivate employees and others. I think it's something we really need to consider at this point, because just like everyone has rightly said, a lot of people are going through lots of devastation at this moment. The coronavirus pandemic is waging a very serious war against the human race, and this is a time that we need to come together and support ourselves and do everything in our power to ensure that we fight and come out victorious at the end of the day. So lots of companies have crashed, and a lot are also going down the drain, and lots of people are also losing their jobs as a result of this pandemic. So I think this is really the time that we need to come together and see how we can forge ahead. Even in the post-pandemic era, we need to start preparing on how to get them comfortable with the new normal. I think at the end of the day, we have a lot to learn, and would all congratulate ourselves after learning so much from ourselves. Let's see how it goes. All the best, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, back to you, Dorina.
as everybody had said already, we are indeed living in unprecedented times. And of course, it's everything about emotions. Like emotions are up and down now. We don't know exactly where we are. Doesn't matter if you're a leader, a team member, just an individual. So staying connected, as has been mentioned already, it's absolutely important at this point. Now, emotions are part of our human being, okay, but they can be deceiving, and if they're not managed properly, obviously we're getting in trouble more and more. Now, I know it's very difficult, and to be honest, I'm one of the ones that lost their jobs after 13 years of working in a college, and it happened. There's nothing we can do literally except for accept, acknowledge, and move forward. Now, what is interesting about this time that we're living in is that although we are stranded in our houses, okay, remote work seems to be the new normal. Now, how do we deal with that? How do we manage remote work? This is something that, as a leader, as an emotionally intelligent, driven leader, people should understand that if you don't know yourself first, if you are unable to manage, to be self-aware of your emotions, your team may not do well, because emotions affect business. And what I believe that is a true leader, should actually use their emotion in such a way that will actually help motivating the others. That means that a true leader should literally work towards reducing the suffering of their followers. How do they do that? By empowering them more, by offering gratitude, by trying to motivate them whichever way they can. As I mentioned, emotions can be deceiving, and for every positive or negative exists. So this is why leaders must transcend all emotions and be detached. Embrace everything with gratitude, with humbleness. And when a leader would present themselves in such a way, then obviously any follower will do the same. And the connection that we're talking about now, although it may not be face to face, it still means a lot to everyone. So you need to be in alignment with everything. We need to understand that this is going to pass. This shall pass. However, we need to acknowledge that it's not easy. It's easier said than done. However, if we are putting all our efforts into understanding what this means to everyone, then of course we're going to do much better. We all have unique talents that we need to address, and bring out, because now it's the time. Now it's the time where it's not about me being a leader and you being a follower. It's literally a combination of both. That is my take on it.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's a very wonderful one. Yeah, it's very, very important also for us to actually remind people what emotional intelligence is, because maybe some people might, some people that will hear or that will listen to this video, for instance, they would want to know what emotional intelligence is all about. And I think it's just an ability, to use, to understand, to manage that is understanding your emotions. You understand? Understand your emotions and how it's affecting people around you is very important. And then using it to solve life challenges, using it to diffuse conflicts, using it, to do, to sort things out for yourself. And then I want to bring in something that has helped me so much, and that is 2.0 mindset. 2.0 mindset has helped me a lot. 2.0 mindset is just about the way you think and the way you work. That is the way you think and the way you do things. is very, very nice. In fact, I use 2.0 mindset to mentor students to win a merit award, the overall best in the country. So 2.0 mindset will help you in so many areas. It will help you to free your mind from negative bias, because there's bound to be bias in the office environment. So you've got to checkmate it as a leader, even as a follower, as anybody. When you're able to understand the emotional intelligence very properly, understanding it that when you have understand yourself very well, you can communicate with people effectively. There are sometimes you can ignore people. There are sometimes you can just answer them. There are sometimes, when you understand who you are, you'll be able to handle situations in life, because situations are not the same. So what am I trying to say? If you bring employees, you bring workers, you bring motivation, you bring leadership, you bring these four together. These are enablers. They're enablers. These are things that can a kind of drive performance in any way you are. It can drive performance. It can facilitate performance. So those of them that are able to understand their emotions very well can manage, can understand, can observe, can do a lot of things about other people. Because you can't give out what you don't have. It's what you have, it's what you give. This is why it's very good for you to get it. You've got to get it yourself before you be able to look into somebody. You can't be doing something and then be asking somebody else not to do it. That's hypocrisy, and that's a kind of opposite of integrity. Hypocrisy is opposite of integrity. So when you bring emotional intelligence, bring integrity, bring self-discipline, perfect. It's not as if you're going to be perfect. Just like I normally tell people, you may not obtain perfection, but you can seek perspective. You can seek perspective. So what I'm trying to say is this: having observed yourself, it's also very good for you to improve when it comes to self-awareness, improve on things like motivation, on sympathy, because it's only when you're able to understand yourself, you can be able to sympathize with somebody. You can be able to see that this thing don't supposed to be what it is. You'll be able to read handwritings on the wall. When you don't know it, you can't be able to do this. And I'm not talking about theoretical complexities. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about physical change, bringing physical change, practical things. Having these things, let it be something that you do. Let it touch people's life. It's not about talking. We talk a lot, This is not a time to talk. This is a time to begin to show people. In fact, you don't need to talk. Just let your attitude, your character, let it be the thing that will speak. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, Cheryl, can we hear from you? Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. I believe that you've touched on so many points, and knowing yourself and the emotional intelligence is so important. Whether we realize it or not, we all have certain biases and ways that we feel about certain things, even certain types of behavior. But by recognizing that in ourselves helps us to be more empathetic towards others. As they share their story, as they talk about their challenges, whether it be professional or personal, we begin to empathize with that. We should listen to individuals without judgment. We are not in a position to judge another individual, but we can be in a position to help and to be supportive. But in order to do those things, we need to do it free from distractions. especially now as we speak to people through sessions like this or messaging. How present are we? Are we attempting to do other things while people are sharing their stories? Are we focused intently on what they are talking about so that we may notice subtle things that maybe aren't the normal way that they speak to us, so that we can maybe follow up and say, you seemed a little distracted. Is everything okay? How can I support you? In order to do those things, in order to have the awareness of change, you have to be present. Because if you're not present, people will pass you by. One of the models that I tell people, or one of the things that I often mention, is the ask twice policy. And it's part of emotional intelligence. The first time that you ask if people are, ask how people are, they'll generally tell you that they're okay the first time. The second time that you ask is usually when the truth is revealed. Because unfortunately, people say, how are you? Like they say hello. There's no interest. Hello is a pretty short conversation. You say hello and someone says hello back. But when you say, how are you? Stay in that moment. Stay sincere and stay focused on that individual. When we know that we're being listened to, we become like that river. The information comes out, we feel free. But if we feel like no one's listening to us, we move like a rushing storm. So being present is part of emotional intelligence, because it keeps us aware not only of ourselves, but the individuals that we may be speaking with.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Evans?
Okay, thank you so much, Eunice. I think you all have made very great points. I would just like to add that since we're talking about emotional intelligent leaders, I think basically the definition, my definition of emotional intelligent leader is that you should be able to have the ability to understand other people. You should be able to know what motivates others and how to work with them cooperatively. I think that emotional intelligent leaders are supposed to be authentic. They should be people who aren't afraid to let their vulnerabilities be known. They should be readily able to acknowledge their flaws and their own mistakes. And you should be able to also recognize and understand the emotions of others and how to work with them. You know. There are attributes, that an emotionally intelligent person should have. You all have mentioned it, and I think I should just summarize them. Self-awareness, and be able to understand yourself. You should be able to manage yourself. You should have a high level of empathy to be able to manage relationships with others, and also be able to be good at effective communication. And talking about increased empathy, I think it's something that we need to dwell so much on. Okay, there should be a high level of empathy. You should be able to place yourself in other people's shoes. That way, it will help you to make more thoughtful and deliberate or balanced decisions. And then, an emotionally intelligent person should also be someone who provides autonomy. Talking about leaders now, yeah, that is, you should be comfortable delegating tasks to other people, other employees, or other team members, and leaving them completely to accomplish the task. You should be able to know your weaknesses and your strengths. That way, you should also better recognize your qualities in others. An emotionally intelligent leader shouldn't be one who micromanages or holds employees by the hands and tries to tell them every single thing. No, you should leave them to do their job. That will make them feel confident, And of course, it's also done out of trust, So employees, workers get motivated when you easily, bond with them. And I think that increased level of empathy is something that is very notable. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Dorina.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very great points that have been discussed today. I'm really happy to hear that we're all on the same page and we're all looking forward to more understanding of how emotional intelligence actually affects not just from the point of view of a leader, but generally speaking, an individual. As human beings, we're psychological first and then logical. So what that means is that when we know ourselves first, we realize that without having that full understanding to the deep core of ourselves, we won't be able to understand others. I mean, when we talk about, people talk about empathy, but we need to walk the talk. You know, it's easy to say, oh, I empathize with your situation. However, I've never been in your shoes, you know? So how do we do that? How do we develop that amazing attribute? Is by being sincere, as has been already discussed, by being true to ourselves, by understanding that gratitude has such a huge impact in our lives, to be humble, to be, I mean, there's so many amazing attributes that are based on emotions. And if we are able to actually manage them properly and be self-aware, then we can move forward. So it all starts with us. And if there are leaders out there that are actually listening to what we have to say, the reflection upon ourselves at this time, during this unprecedented time, I think it's something that would definitely help each and every one of us, starting with them and ending up with just a simple team member. It is quite interesting how everything changed so fast. It was like instant. Now what do? We have a lot of tools and resources, but how do we actually use them? Are we actually able? Yes, we are. We just have to want to. And I think this is something that people need to, because again, otherwise we're talking emotions, and emotions, as I said, can be quite deceiving and can be our enemy. I mean, if we go deep into an anxiety and depression based on what happens around us, we won't be able to get back soon. So as a result of that, I truly believe that we need to look into ourselves first, as Eunice had mentioned, as everyone else, Cheryl and Evan mentioned this already. I think it's very, very important to look into within us and then pull out what we can actually be. We cannot give without receiving. We cannot receive without giving. It has to be a balance.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just want to add that if we actually want to make a physical change that is at the immediate, then we've got to start from our environment, from our immediate environment. See, if I, Eunice, can say, okay, I want to start from my immediate environment. You, Dorina, you start from your immediate environment. Cheryl starts from her immediate environment. Evans starts from his immediate environment. And every other person does the same. Don't you think it's going to work like magic? It's going to work like a miracle. That's the way it's going to work. But if I continue to talk, I said, it's just about, I'll go and give a talk. People will call me here, I'll go and give a talk. People will call me there, I'll go and give a talk and all of that. Those things are not making any meaning at all. So we need to begin to change our lives. When we're changing our lives, everything around us will be changing. That's the point I'm trying to make. We cannot say that we are perfect, but we can start somewhere. We can start somewhere. It shouldn't be, it must be me. It must be me. I have to be on top. Everybody is struggling. Competition, left and right, to and fro, and all of that. We're not going to gain anything from that. Everything we're going to gain is going to be based purely on cooperation. Coming together. We rise by lifting others. When you are rising, you are lifting others. But if you're rising and you're pushing others down, it makes no sense. So what is going to happen is that we all have to be in sobriety, think. We've got to think. thinking and then coming up with actions. It's not just about sitting down and think. You've got to do something, because even as an individual, for instance, if you have a problem in your house, you look for a way to solve it, isn't it? You look for a way to solve it. This is a global problem. How are we going to solve it as a people? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. Some people can be bringing solution, and some other people will be spoiling it or destroying it. It doesn't work. Things don't work that way. Things work when people begin to realize that, look, it's all about me making a change, starting from myself. You know, when I start from myself, why not? I may not even begin to use microphone to talk for people to hear. You know, you've got to change, you've got to do this and all of that. But because people have just seen my character, they've seen my attitude, they will say of a fact, there is something about this person. This person is doing perfectly well. We will emulate her. We will emulate him. That's how change comes. It's not about people going into competitions and all of that, fighting for nothing, fighting for nonsense and all of that. Change doesn't come that way. And people should be ready to be patient. A lot of people are not patient. And this is where the problem comes. People want to make it overnight. Things are never done like that. We all have our own time. At appointed time, things will happen. At appointed time, everything will take place. You know, my time might not be your time. So you don't have to begin to look at somebody, you know, trying to do what the person is doing. And that's why a lot of people go into crime. They go into a lot of things, you know, trying to endanger themselves the more, compounding their problems and all of that. So it's a time for everybody to begin to ask yourself some pointed questions. Ask yourself some pointed questions. Thank you so much. Yeah. Evans, do you have anything to say?
Well, let me just add to what you said, Eunice. You've spoken really well, ma'am, and I'm glad to hear all of that. I think charity begins at home. The change starts with us. Not enough to talk. It's more important what we do. Yeah, change starts with us. It starts with you. It starts with me. We should, as much as possible, reach out and make a difference out there. We should spread love and help people selflessly. A lot of people are facing depression, and we all know that lots of people lost their jobs during the course of this pandemic. So I think whenever possible, we must reach out to help. It all starts with love, emotions, kindness. Famous philosopher once said that kindness is a language that the blind can see and the deaf can hear. So when we focus on being a blessing to others, I think nature conspires and ensures that the blessings come back to us in abundance. So to spread positive.
Ivan, your line is wobbling.
Yeah.
Your line is wobbling. Can you do something so that we can hear you?
Can you hear me?
It's okay. Go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I said that it all starts with love. I don't know where they cut it, but I said it all starts with love, emotions, and kindness. And I said that kindness, according to a famous philosopher, is a language that the blind can see and the deaf can hear. So we must focus on being a blessing to others, because nature in itself conspires and it shows that blessings come back to us in abundance. So we must continue to spread positivity as much as we can. It's all that matters right now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Cheryl, do you have anything to add?
I have wonderfully spoken so far. All of the words definitely positive. I think one of the best ways that we could help to improve is by helping others. If we have the opportunity, as you said, to lift someone up, and that's not only always by a monetary way. We don't all have the money to give to people, but we can give a listening ear. We could share a positive thought. And Eunice, I want to say I definitely appreciate and value your posts, the quotes, the beautiful pictures that show creation. They're
Thank you
inspiring,
so
and I know
much.
that they touch so many people when they see that. And for you to take that effort, it's not, I could tell that that's not for yourself, but you're trying to uplift someone. There's someone that needed to see that, to hear that message. And so while we're on this platform that we're on right now, for however long it is, I think it's changing how we think. That's the emotional intelligence. Can we send out a kind word? Can we post a beautiful picture? Can we encourage someone after reading a post who's talked about a job loss or a death in their family? I mean, LinkedIn has created this network, this collection of people that are all at different stages of their life. When something comes across, do we send a message out, even though we don't know them personally, to encourage them to continue, to not stop, to move forward, and take those experiences and bring them home, reaching out to those friends and family that we haven't seen because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know if someone's struggling, someone's crying at 3 o'clock in the morning because they're alone or scared or nervous about other family members. Taking the moment in time to help others actually helps ourselves. And people don't realize that. Those opportunities that we take to put ourselves out, to volunteer, to help, not because it's the thing to do, but because we're sincere, by helping others, it helps us. And that to me is at the core of emotional intelligence, recognizing that you are not the most important thing right now, but you can help someone else. You can help that family that you know is struggling. You could call that mom and say, good job for teaching your kids through this really unusual time. You could tell the person to hang in there when they just lost a job, or through your own network, perhaps you can give someone a lead or an opportunity. We have treasures within ourselves that we could share, but we have to be able to share them. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like Lucy. Lucy is here. Lucy, are you still there?
Not by the
Lucy.
yeah.
Hello. Yes.
So sorry. So sorry. So you've been hearing what we're talking about. What can you add to that?
Well, first of all, thank you for notifying me and inviting me personally to join. I think it's a very important topic to discuss, and I've heard a lot of, nuggets being shared by everyone. To me, mindfulness and presence, I've heard the words, emotional intelligence, it starts with awareness of our own emotions. Where we are at any point in time, we can measure that and we can feel where we are. And if we're not at a place where we should be to be a productive and contributing member of our families, of our businesses, we can do something to change our state, whether it is prayer, whether it is meditation, whether it is going and hugging your child or petting an animal or taking a walk in nature. So we definitely have control over our own state of being, over our own emotions. And as we start to manage those better, we'll find that we're in a calm, more peaceful place. And that has a direct impact on others. And it doesn't even affect just their energy levels, but it affects how we see the world we experience, the events and people we meet. And so it changes everything. So to me, emotional intelligence is really a good place to start improving your life and thereby the lives of others. So that would be one point I would like to make. And I don't know if you noticed, but when Professor Evans was speaking, each time he was speaking, everyone was smiling. So he just his presence lifted all of us to like higher. I noticed it. I don't know if you noticed it too. So thank you for that. And then secondly, in terms of motivation, I think we make a mistake that we think that we can motivate others. You can only motivate yourself. And people need to be responsible for that, and they can motivate themselves when they do something that is completely aligned to what is important to them, to their values, to their purpose. So when they're in full alignment, they're very motivated. So as a leader of a team, it's important to find out what the values are of the people you're managing, so that you can give them assignments and have a job description that is more in alignment with what is valuable to them, and also maybe let them do the exercise to find out how they can link what's important to them to what they're supposed to do for the company. And that way you get better alignment, you get more motivated people. So I would say, and you know, that's values, passion, purpose, very, very important. And I think that's another thing that we can fall back on during these times, is to go back to that, to those dreams, to those ideas, to those things. Because when you're caught up in everyday life, in the former normal, you just go about your business and you tend to forget about these things. So now that we've been put in pause mode, we have an opportunity to go back to the drawing table and kind of check in with ourselves again and see, is this still in alignment with what's most important and most valuable to me? And if we as leaders can also be aware of what is most important and most valuable to the people we're leading, we can make better use of their potential. So those are my points
That's
to the
great.
discussion.
That's great. Yeah, thank you so much. Dorina, can you please conclude?
Yeah, I believe that we've had a great meeting today. I appreciate each and every one of you. We've had so much to offer in such a short period of time. Everything is absolutely valuable. Let's hope that whomever will hear our discussion will feel the same. I cannot thank you enough for being here today, and I'm definitely wishing you all a wonderful rest of the day, wherever you are in the world. And what time is it right now? And let's keep our positivity up, and believe that there is something better out there. Everything is just a trial. We have to go through it the best we can.
Thank you so much, Dorina. Thank you, everyone. Shelley.
Thank you.
Lucy.
Thank you.
Evans, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, and bye for now.
Bye for now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Next time.
Bye.
Until next time. Goodbye.
Bye.